question is, what browser should we use to protect ourselves from apps like Facebook? That's really the title. What app should we use to protect, hello Sniper, to protect ourselves from apps like Facebook? That is the question. And I said Los Angeles drought. Hit that notification bell on YouTube. You should have said that on YouTube because the people who need to do that are already on YouTube. So I use Mozilla. Okay, so the answer to the question in general terms is you're going to have to use many browsers. This is important. You cannot do this with one browser. You're going to need many browsers, and this is why it's a complex question to answer. Why do you need many browsers, and what does that mean? What it means is I have to plan out what browsers for what. This is the complexity. Depending on what it is you're trying to do, you should use a different browser for it, and then we will explain why this is an important thing. Okay, so backtrack. Before I get into that, I gotta re-explain this thing called browser fingerprinting and why it's so bad. Now, I have a video on browser fingerprinting on YouTube, and I've explained this before, but I'm going to re-explain it as I did yesterday, so that we set the proper background for this, because it's kind of a complicated concept. Okay, back 2 years ago, somebody invented a way to spot you by device, not by your IP address, because they tried that, and people started using VPNs and so on. So they said, is there a way to spot you by device, and how can we use that? Because if you can spot you by device, then we can track wherever you go on the internet, because we don't need to establish a fixed connection to you as a person. We just need to establish a connection to the device and say, I've seen that device before. That's called device fingerprinting. Now, the device fingerprinting is actually a misnomer, because the device information is acquired. Thank you, LC Mix, or Mexico, MX. The browser fingerprint is actually, the device fingerprint is actually acquired from the browser. So if you are using Edge, as this person who asked me the question was asking, he was using Edge, then the every website knows, okay, you are on Edge, and you are on this computer. Let's say you're using a Lenovo, and this is the model. You're using a Lenovo Yoga, whatever, 920, and with this particular model, and with this particular CPU, and so they know that, and they say, okay, so we can recognize that device. That is a computer that was sold in 2017, so we know that. And then it starts to check out the graphics capability of the device and say, okay, how big is your screen? How is your browser position? Where is it in terms of the positioning on the screen? And that's referred to in some circles as the canvas. Okay, the canvas. The canvas is the canvas of the browser where everything is displayed to you. The display platform on the browser is called a canvas. Well, the misnomer is that some people will call it, thank you, rich as me. The misnomer is to call it canvas fingerprinting, and it's more well known on the internet as canvas fingerprinting, which boggles the mind, because there's a lot more than canvas that it tracks. It tracks things like what HTTPS sites you visited. There's a little technique for knowing where you've been before. Okay, it's in an unerasable cookie. No, a VPN does not stop this. This is outside of a VPN. This is why it's important to know this. So all of these techniques of finding something unique about you, I just to give you an example that has nothing to do with Canvas, they track your battery power. So they said, okay, we need to find somebody using Edge on this model of Lenovo with a battery power of 27%. and they say, okay, here's this guy. He's on Facebook at 27%. He just showed up on the Amazon website. The same guy we know because the battery percentage is 27%. See, that goes beyond Canvas. And some other people have a misnomer calling this Canvas fingerprint. It's not a Canvas fingerprint. It's a device fingerprint, but the information is acquired from a browser. So therefore, I call it a browser fingerprint. Okay? Now, again, what does this do? It means that if your device with its specific characteristics are found, they can spot a unique device among millions. One of the other ways that they make sure that there's not that many people to choose from is they divide the group by time zone. So if you're in the Pacific time zone, they're going to not only look for Lenovo Yoga 920 model with this kind of graphics chip and CPU, with this model year and with this battery power of 27%, with the browser position so that it's offset a little bit from the top by 5 pixels, but it will also, and have visited these websites on HTTPS, but also that this what was I going to say? What was the other thing that they track? It just slipped my mind. Right? I was about to say it, then never mind. So I'll remember later. So based on that information, they can now identify you on the internet without even tracking your IP address. Now they don't know who you are. Now I just want to make this clear. They don't know who you are. They just know that this device has been seen. Okay, so let's call this device, we call this device an iPhone 10, but they assign a code to it. Say, we've seen this device, and we're going to store a cookie on it to say, or they don't even need to store the cookie, they'll just put it on their server and said, we're going to identify this ID, particular ID with this kind of configuration as device A123. We've spotted A123. By the way, some of the data, like position of the browser, is time dependent. So it might not be as accurate over a period of time, but for that moment, it's very, very accurate. Okay, so what this means is if you're on Facebook and they identify your device, which they do, this is one of the biggest users this is one of the biggest users of browser fingerprinting. If you go to another website, then they will say, oh, we see that you're visiting, panties.com. And you're purchasing panties and bra, pink panties and bras. And they say, oh, well, we know that, so we're going to put on your timeline, we're going to start selling you something. Okay, I'll explain later how Facebook does that, because they have techniques of finding out where you're going on the internet. But their main identifier is a browser fingerprint. Now you're saying, well, I have a VPN, so that doesn't matter. Yes, it does, because the browser fingerprint does not know who you are. The moment it latches onto some piece of data that's common, let's say that you go into Facebook with a common IP address, and then you log into panties.com with another IP address, and they match the two and say, it's the same IP address. We're going to store that IP address, do a triangulation on that, reverse IP lookup, find out that you're the guy living on 123 Main Street. And we know how many people live there. So, and there are no women living there. There are no women living on 123 Main Street. So that's very interesting what we found that you're doing on the internet. Okay, so that's just an example. So that's the kind of thing we want to fight against tonight, and I'm going to teach you that. Now, browser fingerprinting then is a way to ID your device, and what we're going to try to do is to say, is there a way to break this? Is there a way to prevent Facebook from IDing our device? So once Facebook identifies you by the device, then they're going to use that identifier to attach to everything you do, including your real name on Facebook and everything else you do on Facebook. It's going to extract all the information that you've done outside of Facebook and add it to the Facebook database, such as your health records, your locations, and any other thing that may have been attached to the browser fingerprint. This is why it's really, 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 really bad. Okay, it's a gift, I swear. So anyway, there are two main companies that are the most dangerous users of browser fingerprints. And these are the two companies we're going to work to evade tonight with our strategy. The two companies that we are worried about are Google and Facebook. They're very unique, Google and Facebook. No one else has the reach of Google and Facebook. So we will explain why Google and Facebook are very dangerous when it comes to browser fingerprinting. Okay? No, Dom, no. Google and Facebook. Now, why do these two companies have something unique when it comes to browser fingerprinting? Because they have the ability to check browser fingerprints from practically every website. So normally, only the owner of the website can check a browser fingerprint. This is a very important point. Normally, only the owner of the website can check a browser fingerprint. So in my example here, Facebook.com can check your browser fingerprint, but they have to have access to the fingerprint as seen by panties.com. So how do they do that? Right? So in theory, then, if you're a website that is doing a browser fingerprint and you're not connected to the network of Facebook and Google, then that data is not as valuable as somebody that can browser fingerprint you from a billion websites, which is what Facebook can do. And this is how it does it. Facebook is so popular that everyone puts a Facebook like button everywhere. Everywhere you go, there's a Facebook like button. Okay, I'm not going to put zucking Facebook like buttons on my app, but most places have a Facebook like button. Well, the problem is those Facebook like buttons are actually Facebook websites. They're just tiny. They're the size of a like button, but they're the full Facebook website. So basically, when you go to any website, you're actually talking to Facebook in that little like button. They have all the JavaScript in there, and they can you're actually calling Facebook.com. They're leaving a cookie and all that. That is that little like button there. That's actually Facebook. So that little like button can read your browser fingerprint. That little like button can read your browser sucking fingerprint. Therefore, anywhere there's a like button, Facebook can say, oh, yeah, I saw you on panties.com. Because, our little Facebook like button there spotted you there and browser fingerprinted you. And it matches your ID, and you're actually John Smith on Facebook, so we got you. So we're going to put your visit to panties.com in our database, and I see you're looking at pink panties, so we're going to go into Facebook and go put something in your timeline to give you some ads relating to pink panties. So that's how it works. That's why you're surprised sometimes. How did Facebook know that I was doing this and doing that? And that's how it does that. You don't have to push anything, Wizard. It's an active website there. All it has to do is browser fingerprint you and said, I see you here. The moment you enter a website, Wizard, they know you're there. So that you don't have to press anything. You don't have to press like. You don't have to. The like is actually just a fake thing. You don't have to hit like. Okay? You've actually, if any of you make a website and you put a Facebook like button on there, you're just allowing Facebook to do that, to track you. But there's another company that has the same kind of technique, and this other company is called Google. Now, I know I'm on YouTube. YouTube is owned by Google. Yes, Tinker. So Google has a similar procedure for tracking you on every website, and it's not using the Facebook like button. It's using something that is known to everyone with a website. It's called Google Analytics. Every website owner says, well, I want to know how my website is performing. I may want to monetize it. So I am going to load up the code for Google Analytics. So we insert Google Analytics into all of our websites. It's built into WordPress. It's built into everything you do. Even if you buy a commercial website, everything has Google Analytics on it. Well, Google Analytics is just like Facebook. It's code that's actually a google.com website that's sitting on your sucking computer. Okay? It's actually a Google website. So every website practically, in existence, 99% of them have some sort of Google iframe. That's what it's called, an iframe, a tiny little website. It could be invisible. It is invisible. Google Analytics is not visible, but it's running in the background. It's running there. So any website you visit, Google Analytics is doing a recognition of your device using a device fingerprint, and then you're zocked. Now, you understand where this is the starting point here, okay? It's kind of complicated, I know, but if you understand the starting point now, we're going to go into to how we beat the system here. Now, again, many sites can do browser fingerprinting. If I'm running a website called hackers.com, I can browser fingerprint you all day. Okay, there's even a test one on EFF.org. That doesn't help, Ben. You block their scripts, and that means half the apps don't work. Okay, half the apps don't work. Okay, so you can't really, there's so many limitations when you start saying, I'm going to block something. It doesn't work so well. The apps start to fail, and then you say, what? Why is this not working? Face recognition does not work when I wear a mask. They will do a recognition of the mask. Okay, and they'll know, oh, you bought that mask on Amazon. Got it. Okay, got it. Device fingerprint. This is the guy with this device, fingerprinted, that bought that from Amazon. It's Dihama. Gotcha. Okay. How does that do you evade a device fingerprint? Change device every day? Can you do that? Can you? You may have to have a pool of hundreds of people and then rotate phones every day and say, today I'm going to use this random phone. Now, you know who could do that? To evade browser fingerprinting, have random phones? Jeff Bezos. I wonder why he doesn't do that. He can afford to have 1,000 phones in rotation. He can just buy 1,000 phones and say, what phone am I going to use today? And just rotate the phone, and each one will have a different browser fingerprint. Okay? So he could do that. That'll work. The rest of us don't have a sucking choice. So you say, well, I'm going to use a mask. I'm going to avoid, facial recognition. I'm going to do VPN and all that. But it's still the same device, so they can track the device. What your job is to make sure that they don't connect the device to your real identity. Yes, they know this is an iPhone 10, and they know that this has been on these websites. They know this this device is on YouTube right now. They don't know who owns it yet. They will use other identifiers to do that, and that's where you're going to get zocked. Facebook immediately knows who's holding this device. How? You're logged into zocking Facebook. Every time you click on Facebook on this, you're logged into Facebook. You are zocked. They know who it is now. You just revealed your identity by logging into Facebook. He said, you can leave location off the Hama. Come on, please listen to me. This has nothing to do with location. Location can be on or off. That doesn't affect any of this, okay? Please, some of you think you understand some of these issues. They're not connected. Location is a separate issue from browser fingerprinting, which is a separate issue from IP addresses. These are all different. They're all different threats. They can be used in combination, but they're different threats. And they require different approach, each one of them. The problem is that when you are browser fingerprinted or device ID'd, as I'm talking about here, and you log into Facebook, they know that this device is owned by John Smith on Facebook. They know that now. Now you're zocked. Because how do you undo that? Change the device. You're going to have to borrow a new phone tomorrow. Because Facebook already saw you with this device, and forever, ever on the internet, they'll say, until you change phones in the next couple of years, they'll say, oh, that device is John Smith's phone, and we're seeing it going back to panties.com. Okay? So this is why this is the evil that is Facebook. This is the evil that is Facebook. So, same problem with Google. Now, Google fortunately has a way of allowing you to erase the data on your presence on the internet and website tracking. You can go to Google Activity Controls and you can pause the activity tracking for what websites you visit. So at least there's a way to erase that. I've actually, yes, Cray. I've actually tested on 2 different computers here, and went to my other computer, and what I do on my other computer is not on the other computer. So then I say, so that means you're tracking it by cookies on the device, so therefore you are respecting my privacy. So Google is at least allowing that to you. So that doesn't mean I trust them, but it's just at least it's reversible. Whereas whatever you do on Facebook is irreversible. If Facebook has seen you on panties.com, it will be forever on your record that Facebook saw you on panties.com. Okay, that will never be. Okay, Diane Johnson. So, like I said, if you get spotted on panties.com, Facebook knows that. Forever. It will never undo it. It will say, nope, don't come to me 10 years later and say you've never been to that website because we have a record. You got it. Facebook will not erase that. Okay? There's no method for Facebook to erase it, so you're zucked. You're zucked. So, given the opposition, I will now teach you some ways. This is not 100%, unfortunately. Some ways to protect us from this concept of browser fingerprinting and how it's used to steal your data when you go to panties.com. So I will make sure that that I will teach you how to prevent it. Unfortunately, it is not 100%. It will at least just reduce some of the data they capture. It's not 100%, okay? Not 100%. One of the problems is they collect data from so many different sources that I'm not going to know, if you're following all the rules. If you want to be safe, let's not talk about browser fingerprinting for a moment, because but if you're not signed into Google and no FB installed on phone and location services, location based as off and all location services off, it doesn't work on Facebook. But if you're not on Facebook, you need a VPN on top of that, and more. I'll get to that, but that's the starting point. Dom, sorry. That's the starting. I don't think he sees these. Of course, I see the comment, but I'm talking, guys. It's very hard when I'm doing a long dissertation. So I'm going to go back and read your comments again and make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, so Stoic. I never log into Facebook app on phone, but I still can't uninstall the app. Yeah, if you never logged into Facebook on the app, then fortunately the app itself will never identify the device as being associated with Facebook. So that's good. Okay, if you've never logged into a device ever, on Facebook, then the device is safe. If you've logged into the device once on Facebook, you're zucked. Clearly, that's how bad they are. Okay, you're zucked. One time. Okay, you can undo it anytime you want, any way you want. It's not going to work anymore because you've signed in. What is a good, easy, install free? There is no such thing, live in Detroit, as a free iPhone VPN app that is not a proxy. Free VPNs are not VPNs. They're proxy servers, and they're made to spy on you. So that's how they make money. If they spy on you, they sell your data. They're basically taking the same data that your ISP uses, but they're passing it through the VPN. And Facebook actually came up with a VPN that did that, and so it's not in topic. You're out of topic here. That's off topic, but yes, the answer is there's no such thing as a free VPN. Use Bytes VPN, a real VPN. You got to pay for it. It's not that expensive. Okay, Bytes VPN is a pretty awesome VPN because it comes with Tor, cloud-based Tor routing. Okay, cloud-based Tor routing. Thank you for allowing me to say it, though, life in Detroit, so it's not a bad thing. Okay, so the bull is sucked. Okay, so if you so how do we mitigate the problems with Facebook before we get into the browser issue? First, you have to stop feeding Facebook some of the data. Okay, if you can help it, delete every photo in Facebook. If you can help it. If you don't want to do that, make sure that every photo that you upload to Facebook has no EXIF data. EXIF. Every photo you upload to Facebook will have this. You have to strip the EXIF data off before you load it to Facebook because they spot locations from the photos. How do you do that? Easy. Download my app, Brax.me. Upload your photos to Brax.me, and when you're going to post something to Facebook, download it back to the phone and upload it to Facebook. It will be stripped off of data. Anytime the photo is uploaded to Brax.me, it strips off the EXIF data. So that's built-in EXIF remover. So that's already there, and I already have an app for it, so just use it. It's free. You can upload your photos for free, download it for free. So you can upload as much as you want. It's not a problem. So that's one way to do it if you have to, but minimally post pictures to Facebook. Post some random pictures from the internet. That's better. Never post any pictures from your device because then there's a signature there from photos on your device. So somebody said, "Well, I never put pictures of my face." That makes no difference because the EXIF data is attached to the device. What about phone screenshots? Do they have EXIF data? I don't believe so, Stoic. I don't believe screenshots have EXIF data. I may have to examine one. There's an EXIF data. If you go to my website, whatthezuck.net, you can test a photo that you have from a phone and test it on some of the EXIF data viewers in there and see if there's data on there. What is VPN on Play Store for Android? No. You have to buy VPN from a VPN supplier such as me, bytesvpn.com. Okay, okay, now assuming you're not feeding Facebook, location data by uploading the photos, there's another thing that you're gonna need to do. You're going to need to go to Facebook app and not use the Facebook app. Now, why I'm not saying not use the Facebook app? Some of you love Facebook. Sucked up, but if you're going to use Facebook on your phone, use the browser. Meaning go to Safari on this and go to facebook.com. Don't run the app. Now, why is that? Because the app is doing Wi-Fi triangulation. We found out it's listed on the data policy on the Facebook website. They're actually doing extra tracking on you using the app. If you pass them through the browser, they can't do that. So you pass them through the browser and they can't do that. Okay. And later on, I'll tell you what browser to use because you can install multiple browsers on your phone and multiple browsers on your computer. And what I'm going to suggest to you is set up a separate browser just for Facebook. Set up a separate browser just for Facebook, and I recommend for this process here, use Brave. Use Brave browser for Facebook. In fact, that's the only thing you use Brave for. No, Tor's not going to help you. Not for this. So don't use the app, Facebook app. Let me just tell you very specifically what I'm talking about. No, do not use Firefox for Facebook. Dumb. You will use Firefox for other things. Don't use it for Facebook. Save Firefox for good things. I love Firefox. I use Firefox all the time. Save Firefox for good things, and leave the bad things to a different browser. And the browser you can use for the worst of them, Facebook, is Brave. Okay, and Brave will be a good one because Brave will give a different browser fingerprint to Facebook. So they load up Brave, and Brave gives a particular fingerprint that you're using Brave. As long as you don't go to any other website on Brave. By the way, you can load Brave on your on your on your iPhone as well. Once you go to Facebook on Brave and you do not run any other website, they can't pass data from the device fingerprint. This is an interesting point, okay? This is the way they identify your device. They identify your device through the browser that you use and from a cookie that they store in there to identify the device. That is broken for the most part. There are still ways to beat it, but that is broken for the most part if you have a different browser. So if you use a browser only for Facebook, Facebook will not get data about any other website that you visit. It's a very simple thing. Use Facebook by itself, since it's the worst one, on one browser. Don't ever mix it up with any browser. Do not ever use it on any other website, ever. Because once you do, then it starts to collect the device information. Don't ever use it on any other browser. Use it only on one browser. This is especially good if you just change computers. That's the best way to start this if you haven't, if they've already tracked you. Okay, start with a brand new, let's say you have a brand new computer, set up Brave as your Facebook browser. If you don't believe me and don't want to leave Facebook, and use Facebook only on that browser, that will now isolate that app. It cannot steal data. Do not install the mobile app. The mobile app will start doing things without permission. Let me tell you about that. So some of you don't know this. The Facebook app, as we discovered through the data policy, that I did a broadcast on a few weeks back, showed that the app is actually tracking your location without requiring the permission for the app on the phone. You know how you set location and there's you can turn location off for all apps? It doesn't pay attention to that. They found a way to override that using techniques that usually is done by other apps, but Facebook app decided they're going to do the Wi-Fi triangulation by themselves. And so because they're able to do it by themselves, they're tracking your location indirectly by tracking the Wi-Fi's near you, reporting that to Facebook. Facebook can then extrapolate the location from there. Brave browser is a browser. Of course, it uses HTTP and HTTPS. It's just a normal browser. Brave browser, I'm sure, came from Chromium, which is a Chrome fork. Okay. Chromium is where Chrome comes from, and Chromium is also the origin of Brave browser and many other browsers. Okay, so I'm sure Brave comes from it comes from Chrome. So the aside from the fact that it's actively blocking cookies, it has built-in ad tracking. Pop-up blockers and all that. It's built into Brave, but isolate that just for Facebook. Okay, so Chrome comes from Google. Yes, Dom, and you will understand why that's important in a moment. But I like, that's correct. Firefox is great, and you will use Firefox, but I'll tell you when. Okay? So we're going to isolate different browsers for different bad guys. So use Brave, or if you don't want to use Brave, use something else. As long as it's not Firefox or Chrome, use that for Facebook. You can use Brave will delete. I deleted Brave many times. Use Brave. Use Brave for the bad guys. If you don't want to use Brave, use there's so many other browsers out there. Just don't use Opera. Take Opera out of your list because that's a spying app from China. So don't use Opera. Okay, take that off. So the only thing you choose from is anything else. Brave is one of them. There's ClickQ and so on. So there's some other ones that you can use. Don't use Opera. Opera is not good for law enforcement help because the Chinese government is deep into Opera. Okay, Opera was bought by the Chinese. Okay, so considered to be tainted by Chinese influence. Okay, so if you put Facebook on Brave, what can Facebook do now? And let's say you don't upload photos with EXIF data, and let's say you have a VPN on. It cannot now find out what you're browsing outside of Facebook. Okay, it's still collecting all the information you do on Facebook, but at least. And one more thing not to do on Facebook is do not upload your Zucking contact list. Don't do that. Don't upload a contact list. Okay, so if you follow some of these rules, you're actually mitigating the effect of Facebook on your privacy. This does not mean you're safe on Facebook, but you may be reducing the data collection by at least half. But what I'm saying, half. 50% of the data to collect, especially data collected outside of Facebook, which is the most dangerous, or add your phone number. Yes. If there's some new ways now to verify your identity without a phone number, such as security keys. So I believe Android just announced that their new version will now support that. It's called FIDO, and I don't know if the iPhone. I got to check if there's a direct support on an iPhone on Safari. Probably not yet completely, but at some point, then we can skip this two-factor authentication using a phone number. So if we can skip the two-factor authentication using a phone number, we'll be a lot better off. Okay, so that'll be hardware security key stuff, which I will discuss in the future, in future videos as well. What is a security key device and how that can be used. I'll talk about that separately. So if you're using Brave for Facebook, what about the other things? What about Google? Well, that's not good. It shows all the other profile info. It may show device ID, which is not good in Timemeyer. So you may still want to pass it through Brax to eliminate it. Okay, so what about Google? Google also does browser fingerprinting. And what browser should we use with Google? The problem is Google already owns Chrome. So if you're watching YouTube on Google, on an Android or on Chrome, what happens? They already have the same information. So basically, if you're using Chrome for any Google product, you're not giving them any more information because they already know it anyway. They know you're on YouTube, and if you go on Chrome, it's not going to add any more information for them. What you want Google not to know is what other websites you visit that are not Google related. Those other things that you do, you move to a different browser, which is, in this case, to some of you, might I suggest Firefox. If you're on a Mac, you can use Safari. Okay? Again, repeat to make sure we understand this. I'm suggesting to you, use Brave for Facebook only. Use Google for anything to do with Google, which includes Gmail, Google Plus, if you still have that, any one of the Google products, AdSense, Google Analytics, YouTube, all those are Google companies. Use Chrome. For any other websites you visit, use Firefox. What will happen with this kind of thing? This technique that I'm referring to is called browser isolation. What are you afraid of? You're afraid that Google and Facebook steal information about you going to other websites. Edge is not good. Nobody uses Edge. How many people use Edge? Edge has so many bugs, for goodness sakes. Edge comes from Chrome, by the way. Edge is a Chrome fork, but they still do a bad job. They still do a bad job. So apparently, Microsoft is redoing Edge. They're redoing Edge again. So probably they downloaded a new version of Chrome and are redoing it again. So Edge is based on Chrome. Okay, but it's just so many bugs in it. It's just it doesn't work as smoothly as Chrome does because they don't update it. So especially things like videos and things. There's just so many things that don't work on Edge. It doesn't matter if it's fastest, if it's buggy. A lot of things don't work on Edge. Don't mean to bug me. A lot of things don't work on Edge. Okay, so because of that, I hate Edge. I never use Edge. So I don't know anybody in the world that uses Edge. Do you use Edge? If so, you're one of 5 people. Or you can tell me, I'm on Windows XP. I still use Internet Explorer. Zuck. I use Edge app on Android. Zuck. Please explain Safari experimental WebKit features. Why do I need to explain that, Tony? There's always experimental WebKit features on Mozilla, on Safari, on Chrome. They all have it. So that's nonstop. They'll do a WebKit experimental, then the rest of us who deal with browsers know that, and then they'll announce that it's supported now in a release version. So that's nothing, and then you have to change your CSS coding to say, okay, this is now not just the WebKit, but it's an actual version now. So that's nothing new. So there's tons of that. All the browsers have, all the major browsers have WebKit specific ones. WebKit because they all come from the same original source. Okay, so the many of the like Firefox, they all came from the original one, and it was like a WebKit is the name, and then they all made their own variation of it, and it's still called WebKit. That's something for website programmers to worry about that doesn't concern the rest of us. So what happens now if you do what I say and you put Facebook on its Brave browser, Chrome and Google related products on Chrome, and everything else, if you're going to panties.com, put that on Firefox. If you're going to porn sites or whatever they want to do, put that on Firefox or another browser. What happens is it isolates the traffic so it doesn't connect one to the other. Okay? It doesn't connect one to the other. You can have as many browsers as you want. Just open and close them when you're not using them. The more browsers you use to segregate your activity, let's say you want to do business stuff only on within a browser. Click Q. Okay? So if you partition your work according to different browsers, then the data can't cross over. Do you download Firefox through Google search button? You go to the website. I use DuckDuckGo. I don't use Google search button. That is nothing to do with browsers, though, Moira, because that's a search engine. What search engine to use is a different question than what browser you should use. Okay, because you can install any search engine on any browser. On all of your browsers, install either startpage.com or DuckDuckGo. On all of them. So let's say you have 4 browsers, install DuckDuckGo on all of them. Okay, and you can use the DuckDuckGo browser as well. That's another extra browser. Okay, so that could be an extra browser to use. So there you go. You got DuckDuckGo browser, ClickQ, Brave, and if you partition it to not mix up, just so you remember what to use what for, make a favorite on the navigation bar. Put your favorites on there on the top bar, so that you always remember. Oh, I use this one for Facebook because it's on the top. Because this is hard to remember for a while. And you have to maintain this discipline over all devices. So you have to be consistent. So on your phone, load several browsers. You can load other browsers on a phone. Okay, you can load other browsers on a phone. Just so you understand this, apps use a browser as well. Most browsers will use the built-in, it's called web view. It's a built-in, for example, on an iPhone, WebView is a Apple utility that it's just a version of Safari. It's not actually updated as often as Safari, but it basically has the same functionality as Safari. For example, if you run the Brax.me app, it's actually using the Safari browser built in as a web view. It's built into iOS. Okay, so that's so even apps use the same. And this is one of the reasons you don't want to use a Facebook app, because it will share the same web view as all other apps. Brave is just Chromium. I said that, Timothy. Yes, that's correct. I said that. Edge is also Chromium originally. Yes, same as Edge, but Edge is being rewritten again. There's going to be a new version of Edge because they know nobody likes to use Edge. Don't sucking use Messenger. Oh my gosh, do I need to tell you that? Brave app for iPhone. Okay, yeah, I have Brave on my. It's my main browser. I don't actually use Facebook, so I'm using Brave for something else. And I also have a DuckDuckGo browser on my phone. So on my phone, I have a Brave browser, a DuckDuckGo browser, and a Safari. Now, I don't use Facebook, so I don't have to worry about that. I only use YouTube on here, so I have a YouTube app. So, as long as you don't use Facebook, Facebook is the one that's, the most evil one. Why does Brack not have a browser? Why would I need to have a browser? There's many, many browsers already in existence. You want me to copy Chromium and just, I can make you I can make you a Chromium and call it Brax. It's the same one. But you will be charged by your carrier. I don't understand what that means, Salvatore. So anyway, did I miss the question there from Tony? What did I miss? When I use Wi-Fi calling, can I call anywhere in the world safely? What do you mean by safely? Safe from whom? Are you saying nobody's listening to you when you use Wi-Fi calling? Wrong. No, that is being screened by the three-letter agencies, going through the 8 peering stations of AT&T, which is then filtered and passed through to the Utah data center of the National Zucking Agency. So, yeah, you're safe from being billed, correct, if you're on Wi-Fi, not on data. But if you're on Wi-Fi data, if you're on data when you're using the internet, then obviously you're going to be billed for data. But yes, it's just not safe to say that Wi-Fi somehow when you're using Wi-Fi that it protects your voice, that it's safer than using a phone. No, same thing. Whether you use phone or not, they can track that data. Voice on a phone, voice coming in through the voice over IP, they're all detectable. Is there an alternative message? Yes, Brax.me is one of them. There's many. Don't use Messenger. Why are you using Messenger? Is there anything good about Messenger? You're better off texting than you are sending it to Messenger. Please. Don't say anything important until I return. Just answer a few questions from viewers. As long as you follow my, subscribe to my YouTube drought, I'll pay attention to you. Otherwise, no. If you don't subscribe to my YouTube account, I'll ignore you. So anyway, do you understand what I'm saying here? Is it a complicated concept here? It's kind of a long explanation, but it's actually is a change of habits. This is one of the things that you gotta implement immediately if you're using Facebook. If you're not using Facebook, this is not so big of a concern. A few browsers, you don't have to go isolate to this degree if you're not on Facebook. Facebook is really the bad guy. I did subscribe. Okay, Drought. Okay, Drought, thank you. So many people unsubscribed from me last night. I think 4 people unsubscribed to me while I was sleeping, and I said, what the suck? I woke up and it's like 4 people unsubscribed. It's like, what happened? Did I do something wrong? Did I say something to offend you? Suck. Facebook is my life. I breathe and eat Facebook. It will eat you, Tony. If you eat and breathe Facebook, it will eat you, because they just love people like you and say, let's track your credit card information. So Tony, they're getting your credit card information. Can they decode our digital cell phone signal? Listen. Oh yes, George Flynn. Absolutely, yes. Probably them 4 people that gave you the thumbs down. There's some people who follow me, subscribe to my YouTube so they get notifications. And then they go hit every video I make and they just put a thumbs down on it. It's crazy. It's like, it's like, are these like shills? It's crazy, man. You go on there and they're like thumbing down on every video. Of course, they can only do it once. They can't do multiple dislikes. And if they create fake accounts, they're going to be spotted. So every video they go thumbs down. It's like, suck. So I don't know who shill that is, but that's the craziness I got to deal with. Getting a drink, but I always upload screenshot to Brax first. A habit, a picked up. Train yourself to embrace privacy. Always a plus. Lots of time on their hands. What is more safe, Android Pay or Apple Pay? I don't know. They're probably okay. Jay, no, I am not wearing Zucking red lipstick, Jay. But would you like me to reduce the color saturation? Do you want me to change just for you, Jay? Do you want me to reduce the color saturation? See, now I gotta go find the thing and say, okay, Jay said he doesn't, I gotta reduce the color so he doesn't complain about there. Oops. There, less. Okay, now. Nope, I guess not less enough, but Zucking Monkey Man, maybe they work for Facebook. They probably do work for Facebook, yes. So anyway, I usually like Asians in lipstick, but I don't use lipstick, Jay. Zuck you. Okay, I don't use lipstick, Jay. So zuck you, mother zucker. Okay, so thank you, Rich, Miss R. Crocs. So make sure you're all if you appreciate what I'm doing here. This video this live stream I'm doing about this topic. It's about a subject that that I call browser browser isolation. It's the title of what I'm doing here. And browser isolation is a word I created, several years ago, and no one was using the term. I would Google this and nobody was using this term. And I came up with the word browser isolation. And now if you go to Twitter, I type browser isolation and so many people are using the same term, but they're using it in a different context. So just understand, my use of this is my invention. I don't really care about somebody defining it their own way. Just to tell you, I was here first. I call this browser isolation. So if somebody says, you're using the term improperly, browser isolation is defined like this, like say, zuck you, mother zucker. I made the word up before anyone used it for any other purpose. I Googled it when I made up the word. Nobody was using it. Okay, so browser isolation is on whatthezuck.net. And it's been there for a while. And now I look gray. Oh my gosh, like so much complaints, like nonstop. Okay, nonstop. So if you let me do a review here so we understand our procedure. Okay, on all of your devices, make a decision right now and prepare your setup for this. You're going to say, okay, I use ZocBook. And I want to be safer using ZocBook by keeping ZocBook from doing browser fingerprinting and using it against me by tracking my behavior outside of ZocBook. How do I do that? By browser isolation. How do I browser isolate ZocBook? By setting up a single browser just for ZocBook. And I recommend that you do not use Chrome or Firefox because you want to use that for other things. That I suggest you use a third one, and just to suggest one, I can suggest Brave. Okay, so if you don't want to use Brave, you say I want to use DuckDuckGo for ZocBook. Fine, you can use DuckDuckGo for ZocBook. Just something else. Okay, now you reserve the Firefox for the rest of your web activity that you would consider to be your normal web activity. And then use Chrome for anything that is owned by Google. Again, don't come to me and say, I don't want to use Chrome. Chrome owns Google. Google owns Chrome. I don't want to use Chrome because that's evil. Chrome is Google. Well, if you're going to go to YouTube, YouTube is Google. If you're going to go to any Google website and they own half the internet, well, you have no choice but to go to something Google. If you're going to go to something Google, might as well do it on Chrome. Yes, I've written a book. Long time ago. And many little books and manuals and documents. But I wrote a book that's actually, or co-wrote it, when I was young. I co-wrote a book when I was young. I was also the editor of the book. It was published by Prentice Hall. Okay, that's when I was young. So yes, I've written books. I've had things that I've written. I sent articles to the LA Times. They put it on the LA Times. Okay, so I don't recall ever submitting an article to the New York Times, but I've certainly given articles to the LA Times, various magazines, computer magazines especially, and so on. So yeah, nobody had to go edit my work. I go submit an article to one of those publications, and they take it completely, which is cool. I could drop it off. Drop what off? So I'm you drop at the New York Times. So I'm a capable writer. I can write. I wrote some articles for. There you go. Yeah, I can imagine, Jay. Monkey Man Jay, and people buy real estate from you, huh, Monkey Man Jay? How old am I? Young. I'm young. Yes, you can search your own name, but it's okay to search your own name, and you should search your own name. Okay, you should keep searching your own name to see what comes up. Hello, Mark. And option. Okay, what did you guys say on? Hold on. Just trying to keep track of. Oh, Jay's always trolling. That's nothing new, Dom. Even Chrome can vlock some ads and tracking. Yes, but the point is, if you're on, let's say that your adversary is Google, and they're already on Chrome, and you're going to YouTube and all that. So what you want to stop them is from knowing what websites you go to and what you're doing to them that is not part of the Google family. That's what you want to stop it from doing. And it's very easy to do that. Just don't use, if you go to Firefox, then Chrome doesn't have any information on it. Google doesn't have any information. Now, let's say you go to Firefox and you log into to Google. Let's say, if you're following my advice here on on browser isolation. So Facebook has been pushed off to its own browser, and Google has been pushed off to Chrome, and then use Firefox for panties.com, Amazon, whatever else you do. You put it on you put it on Firefox. Okay, now what happens if you go to Firefox and you accidentally log in to Chrome? Zucked. Now you're zucked. The moment you log into Chrome on Firefox and all of your activity on on Firefox is now sent to Google. So don't do that. Yes, I've been saying panties.com. That's my example tonight. You know how you go to Amazon and you buy panties and bras from Amazon, and somebody they already know, because the world already knows that what specific panties and bras you're buying, because what color, what size, because it goes on Gmail. I'm sorry, it goes in an email, and if you have Gmail, then they automatically know, and they read it and says, "Thank you, Amazon.com customer J, for buying this size panties and this in pink, and this size bras, double D from Amazon.com, shipped to this home address in New York City." That's on the email, confirmed with your name on it, address, zucked. So that's another thing you ought not to do, is use Gmail for your email address for Amazon. I like something exotic. Zuck. Okay, so there you go, guys. So that's pandas.com, XXX large. Fake news. What did I miss as fake news, Stoic? And what did you redact there? Your size shared to the world. I live in apartment 36D. It's no coincidence. Oh, gosh. Is it okay to use the Amazon app? If you buy from Amazon, yeah, I guess so. I actually use the I don't on my I use on my device. I actually go to the Amazon website by saving the Amazon website from the browser. So let's say you're using. By the way, some of you will say, "Well, this is really hard." Hold on. I want to give you some operational tip, because some of you may say what Rob is suggesting here is very difficult to implement. Actually, it's not. Let's say you want to use Facebook or something on your phone, and you don't want to have to keep going to the browser and then type Facebook.com and go log in and all that. You don't want to do that, right? Well, you don't have to, because you go to the browser and you can save a desktop icon for your phone direct from the browser. You can do that. What is the term for that, to make a desktop icon? So if you do that, then that's how I use Amazon. I actually have a direct link to Amazon on my browser, which is attached to Safari, but it's on my my homepage. What do you call this? The desktop, the whatever they call it, the main screen of it. And so I have it there. So I click on it, it goes to the website. It's already logged in, so it's not really not fair, to have an icon on here, to have a icon on the phone. I have not tried Privacy Possum, and I don't know who makes that. Not the toolbar. I mean, here, right on the phone itself. To keep an icon there. Like have a normal app icon. Okay, you can go to any website and make an app icon for it, and it will show up right on the phone, and then you can click on it just like a normal. Add to home screen. There you go. Entire Meyer. Add to home screen. That's what I was talking about. Okay, so that's okay. So add to home screen. So if you want to go to any website and you want to make an icon for it, go to your designated browser, say add to home screen, then when you launch it, we'll use that browser. You don't have to think about it. Rather than use the Facebook app, which is dangerous. Okay, Jay, I said, let me reduce the color, then you complained because you said I had it's like sucked up. I mean, it's like nonstop here. Okay, so there. Sucked up. It's like constant. It's like, oh, your lips are, you're wearing lipstick. Now you're gray. It's like, yeah, I can make it as red or as plain as I want, depending on the lighting. So if you want, I'll move back like here, then it'll be overexposed. It depends on where the lighting is. Okay. So anyway, so you understand the techniques you understand the techniques that I'm talking about now, right? So I hope I'm giving you clear instructions here. I'm giving you clear instructions. So please, people, please make sure to if you support what I talk about here, please subscribe to my YouTube account because there's going to be videos of this. I'll have a shortened video version of this, so you understand what I'm talking about. I downloaded Facebook browser. What is a zucking Facebook browser? Is there like a browser made by Facebook? That's zucked up. Don't zucking download any browser. Don't download anything from Facebook. I will be giving a light scope tomorrow. Whatever, Jay, go entertain yourself. How to beat Facebook is don't sign up to Facebook. Yes, Boog Vegas 123, but I tell these people that and they still say, well, my family's on sucking Zuckbook and I can't leave because they want to show their baby pics. They want to show their baby pics and I can't, this is the only way my family contacts me and then we talk in Facebook Zucking Messenger. It's like, oh yeah, okay, so you go use Facebook Messenger. Even I'm telling you that Zuck is listening into your conversations and watching your traffic and you're saying, yeah, but my family doesn't want to talk any other way. We want to just talk on Facebook Messenger. And, I'm telling you right now, my own mother said to me, she's traveling. She went to Europe. Okay. Said, I don't have a cell signal here. I'll talk to you on Facebook Messenger. She says, you know what I said to my mother? I said, Zuck you, mom. Zuck you, mom. We are not talking on Facebook Messenger. Okay. If you don't have a way to talk to me other than using BraxMe, the answer is we're not talking. I will not talk to you on Zucking Facebook Messenger. The guy from Facebook here, iSocialFit, will come in here and say, Facebook Messenger is safe. We only spy on you. Oh, yes, use WhatsApp. It also spies on you. Oh, yes, just also use Instagram. It also spies on you. They're all owned by Zuck. All the metadata is connected. Come on. Oh, my gosh. Did you see the green? Wi-Fi will not work when the wall is built. You told that to Mama Braxton? Oh, yeah. I said, and she understood and said, oh, okay. Not that she paid attention to me, but at least to me, she will not use Facebook Messenger. She will use Facebook Messenger with my brothers and sister who are also fond of zucking. No, I did not. You're so just interrupting constantly, zucking Jay. Always like zucking. Why don't you go to Ron Waxman's scope and bother him? Okay, so anyway, so please help me. Please help me get Facebook's attention by subscribing to my channel on YouTube. Okay, please subscribe to my channel, and it would be I gotta ask for help. This is the only way I can get YouTube's attention, and the only way to do it. You may not think subscription is a big deal. It's a big deal to a broadcaster, It's a big deal to a content creator. Okay. If you subscribe to me, it's actually a big deal in the eyes of YouTube as it looks at me. So if you think it's unimportant whether you subscribe or not, it's actually quite important, and it affects my visibility in all of YouTube. So if you haven't done so, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe. Now, what do you get if you subscribe? What do you get? You say, well, why should I subscribe? I'm watching you on YouTube. The thing is, if you watch me on YouTube, you're not going to get access or even get notified of new videos, because half of my content are in videos. I release 2 to 3 videos a week. I released 3 videos this past week. I got off and reclaimed my time. Yes, MacGeeks. Are you ready to subscribe to my YouTube, MacGeeks? Yeah. So please, support the cause here and join the privacy army and join us in supporting the cause on Brax.me on YouTube by subscribing to the Rob Braxman Tech account. Yes, I will putting up pictures of a prom. Yeah, a prom. Whose prom? I don't know, but I'll find one for you. I'll create a playlist just for you of a prom. Okay, so yeah, I guess he wants a prom. He's just, coming out of high school. So, will resetting iPhone to factory condition remove the tracking cookies? Yes, it will, but it will not stop the browser fingerprint because the device is the same. Okay, so K. Lewis, the problem is the device is the device. Now, if you want to make sure that it has a different browser fingerprint, return your phone to Apple and say, I want this replaced. They replace the CPU, you have a new serial number on the device, new browser fingerprint. So you can do that. Okay, that's one of the ways you can do it. While we're at it, I'm gonna sidetrack here. I'm gonna sidetrack while we're at it to something connected to browsers, and this has to do with extensions. Browser extensions. Hello, Cup of Joe. Yes, SwifferBot. I don't know what you call it, but whatever the ID is on the phone, it's whatever the chip ID is. Okay? Whatever the chip ID is. Okay, so if you again, if you haven't subscribed to my before I start with browser fingerprint, with extensions, browser extensions. Please make sure that you're subscribed to my YouTube account, Rob Braxman Tech, so that you can see my videos and you support the cause. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the browser extensions. Do you use browser extensions on your phone, on your browsers? Anybody have browser extensions on your Firefox or in your Chrome or Safari, whatever? And does anyone raise your hand if you use browser extensions? I know Hay does not use browser extensions. Okay, Jay uses hair extensions, but I want to know if you use browser extensions. Ad block, traffic segregation per browser. Okay, so. Let me tell you some of the issues. Some of you may not know what a browser extension is. Okay, some of you may not know what a browser extension is. I'm very, very limited in what extensions I put on a browser, and even then, I will limit it to certain browsers. I don't put the extension on all browsers. The only browser extension that I don't have a problem recommending is one. It's called Privacy Badger. Privacy Badger from EFF.org. That is functions as a smart ad blocker, but not too. It doesn't try to solve problems with a big giant hammer. It looks for behaviors that suggest that somebody is doing bad things, and then it stops it. Otherwise, it doesn't block cookies. So it's intelligent because it's saying I will track you I will block you if you exhibit a behavior that means you're tracking me across multiple websites. In other words, I'm utilizing browser fingerprinting. Okay, if I'm using browser fingerprinting, then Privacy Badger will block the JavaScript. Okay, if you're not exhibiting that behavior because it says you're not seem to be tracking anything, then they will not block you, which means apps will run no issue. Some ad blockers will cause some apps to fail. That's why it's kind of difficult to use ad blockers, because some of them are so aggressive and then they stop making things stop working. And the other problem with ad blockers is that you don't really understand what an ad blocker does. An ad blocker has access to whatever it is you're viewing on your browser. So an ad blocker can actually see what you're up to on the website. The problem is some ad blockers could be actual spies. You actually don't know this. I'm going to tell you a little story here. Thank you, Salvatore. Thank you very much for the super heart. I'm going to tell you a little story here so you understand. So let's say that you've made a ad blocker app, and you now have let's say there are 10 popular ad blocker apps on the internet now, and they're all Chrome extensions and Firefox extensions and so on. So there's now 10 popular ad blocker apps. Then what happens? So you're using them and everything looks good. Okay, this is the new technique now of the bad guys. They go to each one of those ad blocker companies and they say, we want to buy you. Sell us your ad blocker app. So they go to anyone with a following user base. They go to each one and they say, okay, we'll buy you out. So they buy each one of these companies. I'm sure not paying them much, but just, because they're probably not making any money. But buy them enough that they, pay for their investment, and they say, okay, here. So now you own the ad blocker or whatever extension it is. Okay, then once they get a hold of the valid extension that you were using for a long time, then they start to inject malware into it. Then they put trackers onto it. Then they actually start doing location tracking and other things that you were supposed to evade. Okay, they do this to, for example, flashlight apps, things like that. Okay, they've been doing that, and it's really distressing, especially since they're doing this by using browser extensions. Because of that, I am very careful to make sure that the browser extensions are actually legit. I don't know about that. I'm still. The problem with things like NoScript is they can actually stop websites from working. So I don't. Gab is an extension. Why would I need to use an extension called Gab? There's another extension that I talked about. It's called NewsGuard, that will flag your news as being fake news or not. Oh my gosh! Don't zucking download that. I can just see that that's gonna be used to say if your news is fake news or not, and then that's gonna be extended later on to say, well, let's track our opponents here. Let's track all the MAGA people, and let's track all the resist people and see what they're up to, and then sell that data to each party, and on and on and on, and then use that as some media collecting device. Be very careful about extensions, because if it's a commercial affair, they're there to make a profit, and profit can be made by selling their app extension to some other company. The reason I don't have a problem with Privacy Badger from EFF.org because EFF.org is nonprofit. Okay, EFF.org is nonprofit, so they're not going to go zuck us because their whole thing is privacy. That whole website is about privacy. Okay, so that's why I don't suggest having too many of these. Even a extension that might be, okay today may not be okay tomorrow. So be very, very careful about browser extensions. So, by the way, the browser extension also adds to your browser fingerprint because it recognizes, people who use that. And unfortunately, to some degree, we gotta have something. No, we're back to this. Hey, it sounds like you're very fond of using extensions. HTTPS everywhere from Google, but go to HTTPS. Do I need an extension to tell me to go HTTPS? You go to HTTPS. Type HTTPS in the browser. You don't need some extension to tell you to use HTTPS. Just type it in. I don't need any third party to go inject themselves. Again, to make sure you understand what this means. I use LastPass, yes. So yes, LastPass extension. I was going to say that LastPass extension is on my browser as well. So yes, I use LastPass and then I use Privacy Badger. Beyond that, I try to be very, very careful what extensions I put on there. Sometimes I'll put an extension in that. Let's say that I want to use an extension for graphics work, like a color, palette thing. I'll load it on temporarily and then remove it, so it doesn't stay there. Again, understand the power of the extension. The extension can actually see your web traffic. You're actually putting in a built-in spy in there. Do you want a built-in spy on your device that can actually see what websites you're visiting? The more extensions you have, the more risk it is that somebody's collecting that. Trucker Life 5, okay? So that is a scary proposition. I'd rather avoid that possibility. So be very, very careful with that. Again, I'm limiting my trust to a few security apps. Well, obviously I need LastPass because I'm using LastPass, and then I need Privacy Badger, which takes care of the browser fingerprinting tracking when I forget. So with Privacy Badger running, it's reducing the browser fingerprint tracking. With browser isolation, I actually delineate clearly what Facebook can access and what not. Okay, so browser isolation apparently is not such a new idea, because the same organization that made Privacy Badger, EFF.org, made a Firefox extension. I forget the name of it, but it actually creates a different, separate, isolated tab for Facebook. So they actually implemented browser fingerprinting, just like browser isolation, just like I'm talking about. They made a browser extension for this Facebook to when you run Facebook, if you have this extension on Firefox, I forget the name of the extension. If you run this extension in Firefox, it isolates the tab where Facebook is running, so it doesn't see all the other tabs. However, I don't know if this is a completely safe solution, because there's still some ways to track, because you're still on the same browser, therefore the fingerprint is still the same. So I don't think that's the best solution. I think my solution is better. Use a different browser. I think my solution is better, because then Facebook sees you're on Brave or whatever browser you've assigned it, And when you're going to your panties.com, you're in Firefox, so they're not going to connect the two. They may still be able to do some, rough connection, but it's not going to be as accurate. Okay, so this is the way to just shut them down with browser isolate. I've been using browser isolation for a long time. This is something that I automatically knew to do for years. Browser isolation is something that I've adopted as a strategy for so many years now, and then I told you all about it. I was actually kind of keeping it a secret for myself. I said, you know what? I'm not going to tell anybody about this. I'm just going to use it myself. I know this is effective. And then 2 years ago, browser fingerprinting showed up as an issue 2 years ago. And that's when it became evident that you really had to do some pretty heavy-duty browser isolation. And that's why I started to tell you about browser isolation openly. I was using it for years before, and I called it browser isolation for myself, and I didn't really tell anyone else about it. So again, have multiple browsers isolated by type of activity you want to do, and if for every browser to use it separate from the other browser, then the information cannot cross over. Yankee Woman, I don't want to have to repeat the video since I've already talked about it, but let me give you a suggestion, Yankee Woman. I actually have a video on it on YouTube. If you subscribe to my YouTube account, there's actually a summary of browser fingerprinting. You can also subscribe to my Twitter account, Rob Braxman Tech. And I believe I've tweeted the video for browser fingerprinting. It's a very, very dangerous thing. It's a way to find your device. It's a device fingerprint, meaning on the internet, they can find your specific device by fingerprinting your device on the internet. And it's a very, very dangerous thing. So the stuff I talk about is very unique. Again, the solution I'm giving you is my solution. I've never heard anybody say it. I certainly, am the first to say it that I'm aware of on the internet. I openly had it, thousands, if not millions of people have heard me say it. Browser isolation here. I used to get 14,000 people watching me every night, and they heard me say browser isolation for many, many years. So this is not something that just came up. I did not copy this from anyone else. I am when I tell you something here, I'm actually giving you unique content. My content is very unusual. You're not going to find the stuff that I say on even on YouTube. I'm the only one on YouTube that says this. Okay, I'm the only guy on YouTube that's going to tell you to not use an antivirus because it's actually adding danger. Okay, I'm the only one that's going to say that, and that's why I get dislikes, because they're going to say, what I'm talking about is not mainstream. I will make I'll make a video of that, Tinker. So that'll be the summary. Thank you, Drought, for acknowledging what I'm saying is correct. Again, just some simple tips to summarize to improve your Facebook experience, to keep Facebook from stealing too much of your data, even though you cannot. Yes, Drought. That's it. Windows Defender, and use set your computer up to be a non-admin user. Make your computer not be the admin user. Use only the admin user for installing software, and other than that, don't use it. And what happens is, even if you didn't have an antivirus, the antivirus can't really hook onto you because there's no way for it to save to any dangerous area of your computer. On the desktop on a Win 10. Get the even though we're not. What? Cool. Okay, so Facebook tips we'll summarize again. Do a quick summary of what to improve your Facebook experience. Number one, don't upload your pictures directly from your phone into Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp. Don't upload it to any of those. your photos have EXIF data, EXIF data. So if you take a photo and you upload it to any one of those platforms, they will find your exact location and the serial number of your device. So how do you remove EXIF data from a photo? There's some other solutions out there on the internet, but the easiest one is download my app Brax.me, upload a photo on Brax.me, and then download it again. And once you download it, the EXIF data is cleared. Okay, so rather than store your photos on your phone, upload every photo to Brax.me, and then when you want to post it on Zucking Zuckbook, you download it back to the phone, and then it will no longer have any EXIF data. Be concerned about that. Be extremely careful about what photos you post on Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, because those are all owned by Zuck, and they thrive on the metadata, which is your location and the serial number of your device, which is in the EXIF data on the photo. So that's one. Second, do not use the Facebook app on the phone. Very, very dangerous. There's no way to turn off the location that you can trust on the phone when you're using the app. The way I would do it if I had to use Facebook is I'm going to go on the browser that I want to use for Facebook. Let's say Brave. I told you do not use the main browser. Use something else. Use Brave, DuckDuckGo, whatever you want. And then save to home screen. And then use that as the app on the home screen, which will call up that specific browser that you wanted to use. Okay? That will prevent the browser fingerprint from spreading information and tracking you across multiple websites. That will stop that. Okay? Facebook, and then turn off location on your phone at all times, especially for that browser. Okay, so do not use Facebook Messenger. If you want all of your discussions to be recorded and tracked, so there's always a third party listening, yes, use Facebook Messenger. If you are concerned about that, don't. Okay? The problem is that Facebook will suck you any way it can. So unfortunately, this will only prevent maybe 50% of the data from being taken from you. Oh, use a VPN. Use a VPN. This will only prevent 50% of the data from being taken from you. Unfortunately, the only way to actually be absolutely certain that Facebook doesn't take any of your data is to actually not use Facebook. There's no safe way because Facebook is constantly looking for ways to steal your data. One of the new ones that I just told you a couple days ago was that Facebook was now tracking your health data, especially when you use any kind of app like heart rate, blood pressure, all that. They take all that. They deleted my account on Facebook, so, my test account, they deleted it. So maybe that's one of the ones they deleted from. Yes, but did you delete your content? You may have to go back to your FB account just to delete your content. Delete every post, delete every like, delete every, every share, every picture, every photo. You can't just leave it with your data on there. Okay? You sure? Just, go in there and... Yes, that's a new thing now that was just in the papers. They also track your tattoos. They have a tattoo database. This just goes to show you. They'll track everything they want. They are also now tracking the computers inside your network. This is a very strange thing. They're using a internal thing that hackers use called ARP, inside the network. I don't know what they're using this for, but they're actually tracking devices inside your home. What are they tracking that for? Are they seeing how many people in the family are using Facebook? I'm not sure. Not clear on this. But hackers use that. ARP. It's called ARP. Yes, they do, if you put it on the picture. Yes, Freddie Race. So ARP is supposed to be internal to the network. for local user, why would Facebook get involved with ARP? I have no fucking idea. You know, what use would that be? Maybe I've figured out what they're using it for. Okay, I figured it out. Mech Geeks. If you do ARP, they'll announce their MAC address. Got it. That's what it is. They'll announce their MAC address. That's what it is, Mech Geek. That's what they're doing. They're trying to get the zucking MAC addresses of the device, because you can't do that otherwise on an IP MAC address. There's no MAC address on an IP, but there's a MAC address in ARP. That's what it is. See, I just had to think about it. What would they use that for? So now I just figured it out. Zucking evil right there. They spot the zucking MAC address. You are zucked. Oh my gosh. Tracking a MAC address on a phone. Oh my gosh. This Zuck just doesn't want to stop. The evil on this Facebook is just incredible. Incredible. Do you believe that, Mario? No trace route is outside of the network. Inside the network is only ARP. Well, they don't need to do that. They can use traceroute for that. They don't need to do that. But if they got a MAC address, they have an identity. Okay? It's another way of getting a serial number on your device. MAC address, it's an identity. It's a serial number. That's right. Perry Pilot's correct. It's a serial number of your device. Pure evil. Pure evil, Dom. And that's Omar here just loves that. He just loves the fact that we just discovered that Facebook tracks MAC addresses. That is zucked up. In case you didn't know why I know they're tracking the MAC address, because it said so on the data policy. They described it as finding out devices on your internal network, which obviously is using ARP. Those of us in tech know they're talking about ARP. So I said, okay, what do you mean finding devices on the internal network? ARP. What are you using ARP for? And now we find out they're tracking MAC addresses. That is zucked up. That is zucked up. Because you can't hide the MAC address on a phone. You know, you're not going to go modify your MAC address on the phone. That is zucked up. That's just total. Why would they want that? I mean, this is just talking about the evil. There's like, we're going to track you no matter what. You can't zucking hide from us. Just like a zucking game for them. So they can type to all their devices. Yes, Mac Geeks, told you I was banned 3 years ago from my conservative pages on zucking Facebook. Are you subscribed to my YouTube account there, Concrete Man? Please make sure that you're subscribed to my my YouTube account, Concrete Man. So yes, Omar, just watch the replay and be happy, because you know, just this lovely platform will just zuck you to know. I think I am on Concrete. I am on Concrete. I don't see who subscribed to me, so I don't necessarily know that. But please, if you're not subscribed to me, don't unsubscribe, folks. That, you know, help me out here. I'm also there on Patriot Bloodline. Facebook doesn't spy, YouTube does. Omar, do you work for Duck? Thank you, AMG. Braxme is the safest platform. You subscribed the other day. Yes, Trucker Life. But somebody unsubscribed. The moment you subscribe, Trucker Life, somebody unsubscribed, and it's like, Zuck. So you didn't even count. Somebody unsubscribed. So YouTube Live tracks. So if you want to have an enemy that will track even your MAC address, there you go, Facebook. I mean, the intensity of the evil is just beyond words. I'm going to tell you right now, folks, any company that tracks you down to the MAC address level is pure evil. And don't use multiple accounts, please. Don't don't subscribe to me on multiple accounts of yours because it doesn't help. They just subtract. Thank you, Brad, but apparently not a lot of people think so because I'm not getting subscribers. I'm starting to believe that they are. Get the plunger. FB doesn't spy. Wow, non-spy is more beyond the. FB has more information. Zuck has more information than the three-letter agencies. Trust me, they have more information. They know every website you visit. I will be discussing with my wife soon. Just don't follow me with multiple accounts from the same household because they look at the MAC addresses and say you're bots. What's your question, Trucker Life? What's your question? I'm going to have to, even if we rewrite over our memory drives. Yep. NIP. Maybe, yeah, it's called Brax.me. The problem is, YouTube is the second largest search engine, so you got to respect that. Okay, you got to respect the fact that, YouTube is very successful, being the second largest search engine. They can reverse search IPS. Yes. Okay, that's for Periscope.